Assalamualaikum, I am Rabiatul Adawi binti Asadi and I will start our presentation with the introduction of Shariah Audit. According to the Global Report on Islamic Finance 2018, the Islamic banking sector is regarded as the primary component of the Islamic finance industry. All financial institutions that identify themselves as Islamic banks are considered to be part of Islamic economy. Therefore, they are required to adhere to the rules of Shariah in all of their financial dealings and investments. As a result, Shariah audit should be used in Islamic banks to fulfill maqasid al-Shariah, prevent potential Shariah non-compliant risks, and gain the trust of stakeholders by establishing strong Shariah governance. It is evident that Shariah auditing takes a different approach than conventional auditing, particularly with regard to the issue of Islamic institutions upholding Shariah principles. Shariah Governance Framework by Bank Negara Malaysia define Shariah audit as the periodical assessment conducted from time to time to provide an independent assessment and objective assurance designed to add value and improve the degree of compliance in relation to the Islamic financial institution business operations, with the main objective of ensuring a sound and effective internal control system for Shariah compliance. The function should be performed by internal auditor who have received the necessary Shariah-related education and training. Their ultimate objective is to guarantee an efficient internal control system that complies with Shariah. Due to their lack of experience, external auditors will hesitate to take on the duty ensuring Shariah compliance. Additionally, as long as the auditor's objectivity is not jeopardized, the internal auditors may utilize the Islamic financial institution Shariah officer expertise. The responsibility of Shariah audit is to provide independent assessment and objective assurance to add value and improve IFI's compliance in ensuring sound and effective internal control system for Shariah compliance. Next, develop a comprehensive internal audit program or plan. Besides, obtain and make reference to relevant references. And lastly, provide recommendations and follow up on rectification measures taken by IFI. The scope of Shariah audit shall cover all aspects of the IFI business operation and activities. It includes audit of financial statement of the IFI, compliance audit on organizational structure, people, process, and information technology application system, and review of adequacy of the Shariah governance process. That's all from me, and I will pass our presentation to the next presenter.
Hello and hi, I am Siti Naziah binti Mustafa. So let's take a look at the difference between Shariah audit and conventional audit. The main difference between Shariah audit and conventional audit is the party relationship. For the conventional audit, it includes entity, auditor, and user. While Shariah audit, it includes entity, auditor, and broader range of users. The second difference between Shariah audit and conventional audit is focus of audit. For conventional audit, it focuses on financial statement assertions, while Shariah audit, it focuses on financial statement as well as processes, contract, personnel, system, and performance. Regarding the basis for audit, conventional audit is based on the IFRS, while Shariah audit is based on Shariah rules and principles, BNM Shariah guidelines, BNM Shariah framework, governance framework, and then AAOI, FI, and appropriate parts of IFRS. Next, for sufficient evidence, conventional audit obtain documented evidence through observations, sampling, recomputation, analytical review, witnesses report, and then etc. While Shariah audit is through SSB rulings, fatwas of international and national fiqh boards, and all other conventional evidence. Lastly, for the written assurance report, the auditor prepare a standard audit report for the conventional audit, while Shariah audit, an auditor issued a more comprehensive report. Next, I will proceed with the definition of Shariah governance framework. So, a well-governance structures is important stability and soundness of Islamic financial institution, IFRS, and Shariah governance is also one of important component of governance framework. So, what is a Shariah governance framework? Shariah governance framework is a set of organizational arrangement through which Islamic financial institution ensure effective oversight, responsibility, and accountability of the board of directors, management, and Shariah committee. Okay, Bank Negara Malaysia issued the Shariah Governance Framework in 2011 and the latest publication was in September 2019. So, what is the objective of Shariah Governance Framework? Let's take a look together. Okay, the first objective of the Shariah Governance Framework for the Islamic financial institution, which is the framework, is designed to meet the following objective. Okay, the firstly, to set out the expectation of the banks on an IFI Shariah governance structures, processes, and arrangement to ensure that all its operations and business activities are in accordance with Shariah. The next objective is to provide comprehensive guidance to the Board Shariah Committee and management of Islamic financial institution IFI in discharging its duties in matters that relating to the Shariah. Lastly, outlines the functions relating to Shariah review, Shariah audit, and Shariah risk management. Islamic financial institution has established three functions that provide a system of checks and balance within the organization, which include the following. Okay, first, Shariah risk management. It refers to a function that systematically identifies, measures, monitors, and reports Shariah non-compliance risk in the operation, business, affair, and activities of the IFI. Next is Shariah review. It refers to a function that conducts regular assessments on the compliance of the operations, business, affair, and activities of the IFI with Shariah requirements. Lastly, Shariah audit. It refers to a function that provides an independent assessment on the quality and effectiveness of the IFI's internal control, risk management system, governance processes, as well as the overall compliance of the IFI's operations, business, affair, and activities with Shariah.
This standard applicable to all Islamic financial institutions, including licensed Islamic banks, licensed takaful and takaful operators, licensed bank and investment bank approved to carry out Islamic banks businesses, and Shariah community members. Next, for the qualification of Shariah auditors, according to the latest PNM Shariah governance, the Shariah auditor must be able to perform the following Shariah audit functions. First, establish an audit methodology to assess the risk profile and vulnerabilities of each auditable area. Next, generate an audit plan for the assignment to be performed. Third, establish clear documented audit programs that provide guidance to the internal audit assessment. And lastly, communicate result to the board and Shariah committee through an audit report dealing with the audit findings and recommendation for rectification measures, as well as the audit's response and action plans. Next, based on the real case scenario between MK Associates Sendar Berhad against Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Based on this case, the plaintiff, MK Associates Sendar Berhad, default in the installment of Al-Bay Vitamin Acil. The defendant, BIMB, claimed the outstanding balance of the facility together with the ta'wid or compensation. The plaintiff contended that the defendant was not entitled to charge ta'wid since it was not a part of the terms agreed upon the time of the agreements. There are three main issues involved in this case. First, whether the defendant was entitled to charge the plaintiff takwid pursuant to the agreement. Second, whether the defendant was entitled in law to charge the plaintiff takwid. And third, whether the defendant was entitled to charge takwid in the sum of 10 million ringgit. After giving due consideration of all factors and arguments, the learned judge made decision in favor of the plaintiff, and takwid was not given in this case. Hence, the court held that the plaintiff must know of the imposition of takwid so that concern would be valid.
Next, let's proceed to the challenges that arise on Shariah auditors in performing their duties. As the issue highlighted before, it gives a big challenge for the Shariah auditors to perform their function. There are four main challenges that I will explain. The first challenge is insufficient accounting standards for Shariah auditing practices. It is because the Islamic financial institution has mixed the convention standard with Shariah regulations, which lead to misinterpretation of Shariah rulings. But this also could be legitimated against the Shariah standards. The second challenge is unqualified to become a Shariah auditor. It is because of a lack of knowledge. They are not only focusing on the transparency of the financial report, but also need to ensure that the fund of the Islamic financial institutions has been neutralized properly. Thirdly, lack of accountability of Shariah auditors. This needs to be overcome by the Shariah auditors, as they are not only accountable for the human or stakeholders, but they also need to be accountable to the creator. Lastly, lack of independence of Shariah auditors. This needs to be overcome to avoid the misconception of the function of SSB and the Shariah auditors in Islamic financial institutions, where they pay off to conduct their works. Now, we are moving to the recommendations. There are a few recommendations on enhancing, sharing, and practicing in Malaysia. Since current Islamic finance is not yet in the maturity stage due to the lack of Shariah knowledge and capability of the individual from the finance fields. So, for those contracts which are not meeting the current Shariah standards, the parties involved in the contract should review and renegotiate the existing contractor. It is to ensure that it comply with the Shariah standard. Besides that, higher education should consider providing programs on giving undergraduate degree students more Shariah knowledge, along with the Shariah accounting corporate governance created specifically to meet IFIS practice. It can help in becoming a good Shariah auditor that can help to strengthen the Islamic finance in simulation. The third recommendation is that the government should take action in order to encourage more employees from Islamic finance to work in government organizations. It will make a big change since their involvement will influence the work organization itself, where it can minimize fraud. In addition, the industry players should attend seminars or workshops to improve the Islamic finance in Malaysia, since they can exchange ideas and discuss the issues that are related to the implementation of Islamic finance. Indirectly, they can gain more knowledge on Shariah audit. The last one is that the IFIS should formulate structured capability development programs to ensure that they can understand their function and roles in the IFIS. So, in conclusion, without sufficient knowledge, skills, and capabilities will give a negative impact to the Islamic finance, as this will lead to the contribution of window dressing. The image of the IFIS will be disrupted, as the consumers will no longer believe the service offered by the IFIS. In other words, Shariah auditors will face immense challenges from the top management, who are only intent on how to maximize their own profits and interests without considers the faith and practice to implement Islamic principles in their daily life.